Good evening, one and all. Welcome to the Mental Health Webinar Series 2020 and 2021. Today we are in 481 session. Today's session is continuation of yesterday's session by the resource person, the senior most respected ma'am, Padma Anil Kumar ma'am. She is the founder and director of the Sitara. This is a center for self-discovery. She's a psychologist and counselor. She's in the field of over 30 years. She is specialized in parenting, child psychology, and relationship psychology. Almost she come across 40,000 people, and she includes me of training and counseling. And yesterday we saw the topic of concept of self in terms of comparison of Adlerian psychology versus Indian psychology. With continuation of that, today we are going to see the concept of cognition in terms of Adlerian psychology versus Indian psychology. Ma'am very well explained yesterday about the superiority, inferiority, uniqueness, and the respectful, and the lifestyle aspect of mindful, and a lot about comparisons with the Buddhism and with the Vedas and uh, Adlerian psychology, all those things, the concept of individuals, final goal, everything. So today is the continuation of last year session, yesterday's session. I would like to welcome today's resource person and all the participants on behalf of American College Madurai, MS Chellamuth Institute Madurai, and Red Fund Educational Psychological Research Center Madurai, Yellow Fund Counseling Center Madurai, Tamil Nadu Career Counseling Center, and Tamil Nadu Counseling and Psychotherapy Association and STEPS Foundation. This kind note, I would like to invite respected Padma Anil Kumar ma'am to take over this session. Ma'am, what to you?
Thank you so much. I'm not sure yesterday what impact it had on you, but the aim was to actually revive the thought processes related to the Indian psychology aspect. I'm not an expert as yet. I like the word as yet because I'm hoping at some time we can really say, I don't think anybody is really a complete authority on Indian psychology as yet. So I think that we all need to give it a little bit more importance, not from the point of religion, not from the point of any, any kind of conservative thinking, but I need each one of us as psychologists, like ma'am said yesterday, Subhashri ma'am said at the end of it also, that academicians, practitioners, we have to think and indigenize and bring out a very clear form of psychology which is effective enough for all our children, all our next generation. Because more and more, when we have made them think like the Westerners, I think we are losing them. They are moving into a Western kind of an upbringing, a thinking process, etc., where uh, I want all of us to think what was our procedures, what was our, because today's topic is cognition. In Adlerian psychology, the aspect of cognition is more from the point of view of therapy. Okay, so cognitive constructionist is what they called Adler. Adler was the cognitive constructionist, is what they tried to define him as. And so when you look at cognitive constructionism, what is it? It's actually the therapies related to how, they actually dealt with in the Adlerian psychology. So therapy, again, when I started reading on the therapeutic aspects followed by Adler, what we realize is it is more of a formation of a complete habit system or a lifestyle or a complete childhoodல இருந்து ஒரு control பண்ற மாதிரி ஒரு kind of a process only is the therapy. Because when a person comes with a problem, that problem from that point onwards, he talks about phases wherein actually he's nurturing certain kinds of behavior, which is ultimately the alternate behavior required to avoid the situation of stress or anxiety or whatever. So that is already there in the Indian system, where as a child these people have put these things in. So I just want you to make a comparison of sorts, and um, so I want you to recognize and see how this caring, this formation of reaching children, because that is where the thinking process. It's not like we are learning cognition like only memory or things like that. We're talking about cognitive restructuring, cognitive thinking, basically. What should a child think? What is knowledge? What is That aspect is what I want to bring about. So in the Adlerian therapy, they say there is an individual private, that is, before we start therapy, we need to completely understand the individual private life plan. Individual private life plan. Now, whether it is the varnashramas or the aspects of what a person should do. Okay, very clearly in the Hindu mythological content, which is leading to psychology, they have identified that that child will follow without conflict the one that the father or the mother. I'm not advocating it. You should give freedom. You should allow the child. But I'm just trying to say how they try to minimize the level of confusion in families, in people, in things like that. And it was easier. It was easier for a mother to or a parent to tell the child what to do. So even when we are doing career counseling lately, we were looking at the principles of career counseling, and one of the very famous career counselors, I don't want to name them, in India, who they are doing a very big job. One of the characteristics, when you see what they are looking for, they are saying is it is better to advocate what the parents are doing. It is because it will reduce conflict, it will reduce. Now, whether it is right or wrong, it's up to a debate. Okay, the children will say, why should I follow my father's profession? Perfectly all right. If you have the ability, the support and everything. But we have seen that if there is a platform, to rise from that is is much easier. For all of us, we are struggling to make a mark. If our parents already made that mark, it was easier to continue it. It's just that to reduce the friction in society, reduce the kind of, now it's right or wrong is not my debate. I'm just trying to say that if they planned individual private life plan, they did it through the varnashramas in our Indian context. So when Adlerian therapies talked about identifying the individual private plan, and then to remove self-defeating behavior, this is one of the concepts that they used. Useless and unpredictable aspects, shift of interest towards social and communal goals. This was the plan in the Adlerian text. When you look at it from the point of view of Indian psychology, when we talk about our life plan as a human being, it is ultimately social goal. Whether it is through our stories of all our so-called kings or great people or whatever, even smaller stories where it is the bodhisattvas and they talk about small, even our, when you think of the Panchatantras, I mean, in many ways, we learned character through Panchatantra. We learned moral values through Panchatantra stories, right? That also came from combining the ancient stories and putting it together. So every aspect of it is such that we talked about removing self-defeating behavior. We talked about actually useless and unpredictable aspects to be removed, shift of interest towards social and communal goals. Can we see the ideology very clearly? Whether it is Akbar and Birbal, whether it is whatever stories we have seen, even in the contemporary world, we have constantly seen the bending towards communal goals. Now, this contemporary stories need not be thought of as psychological evidence, but let's take then the stories of Shankaracharya or Ramanujam or all of them. They talked about the existence of the fictive aspect of God coming down, of seeing God, and what did that God do? What did that so-called power do? That power actually identified this individual's private life plan and gave them options, gave them alternative lifestyles, and they took it on. So when we talk about the Ramayana being written by a robber, when we talk about things like that, it was the individual's inner perspectives, inner goodness that was revived. They reminded the person about what you're doing, which is self-defeating, and pulled him towards a very, very noble job of writing, of creating text. Everybody's story. I mean, I was reading the stories of how the Narayaniam came about, how the Bhagavata Purana was rewritten later. Each one of this, even when ma'am was talking about Tolkappiyam and all of that, the purpose that comes in after actually not being a writer, not everything, each one of them took to writing, took to that greater call that they call. And even if you look at, I'm not saying it is exclusive of Indian psychology, because if you take it from the point of view of either it is Egyptian in Egyptian stories being written, or it is the Christian stories that is being written, or Jewish, all of them reach out to a bigger goal. I agree that, but more so in Indian psychology, because there are a million gods and there are a million stories telling us one very, very important thing, that there are a million psychologies, that each story need not be compared, and the uniqueness of the individual is shown by the million gods that we have. So if you want an angry god, there is an angry god, and he also changed occasionally and became quiet. If we wanted a very sattvic, a very nice person, we had one person like that also, Buddha, whatever. If we wanted a gossipy person, if we wanted a niggler, we had Narada. And if we want anybody, you name the personality, whether you want a narcissistic personality, how it crumbled, how they, all the egoistic characteristics that they're telling, spiritually we say cut the ego, cut that, this, those were narcissistic personalities. And so those narcissistic personalities also were clearly identified and brought down. So when you say thinking, when you say cognition, and we combine it with personality, the entire Indian psychology, the stories that they have used to portray this is there. Okay, so that is from the storytelling point of view. That is from the identity. That is good over evil stories that we have. What did it do? It identified individual private life plan and removed self-defeating behavior, which is actually these concepts that I just told you about is from Adler's theory and not from Indian psychology. So we can easily see the comparison. Then Adlerian psychology, while before they actually start the phases of therapy, they say that it is important to elicit or bring up the paradoxes, the humorous aspect, and historical examples, and then convey the story to the individual. So paradoxes, humorous, and historical examples. Here the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita is a clear evidence of it. The naughtiness of the so-called God there, or the so-called mentor there, what did it constantly do? It constantly pulled up the paradoxes in individuals. Where somebody's strength was their hair, he made sure that it is only your hair. If somebody believed that they had, I don't want to tell all the stories, that's why I'm just telling as somebody, but each of them is a Puranic story. So when they talk about removing the head and placing it of an animal, what was it actually? It is trying to give it those qualities of strength or of whatever body image it has. So now what the latest trend is, everybody is talking about body image. Paradox is there. Paradox where a human body is replaced by something else, and then also it becomes powerful, then also it is intelligent. So don't undermine the power of anything, of any being. Is very beautifully brought out, and humorous and historic, humorous to the core. There are such funny instances all through the writings of all of them, the sages. Even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has little parables where he talks very humorously, very, very subtle humor is there, and he brings out stories. And each one in that, what does he do? Ultimately, in the thing, he gives you an alternate thinking process. He gives you an alternate process to actually lead your life. Whether it is, I mean, there was a story which brought out the moral of practice before you preach. They say that somebody came with their father, the wife brought the husband and said he's smoking too much. Can you please, Guruji, please reduce his smoking? And Paramahamsa ji said, I give me 1 week time and then I will talk to him. So everybody, all the the chela said, such a small job. You could have told him, and he's very good bhakta. He would have listened to you. You could have just told him, don't smoke. You could have told him like that. So he said, no, you wait. I'll wait for 1 week. And after 1 week, the wife brought the husband back again. And he said the same thing. He said, stop smoking. And this man said, yes, Guruji, but why, Guruji? I'm not able to. He just gave him a few tips and told him, this is what. No, you should try this. You must stop it. And he went away. All the Shishyas asked him, why did you make such, it was so simple. This you could have told 1 week back. What was the problem? So he said, no, I was smoking. So 1 week I had to stop smoking before I can advise anybody anything. So it is not enough. So doing it by practice, what is it? It's trying to show you the paradoxes of life. It's trying to show you that through subtle, small stories of our own, laughing at ourselves, using art, we can be a better mentor. And that is Adlerian psychology. They've told that the therapist has to bring up paradoxes, has to bring up humorous as examples, and has to bring on historical examples. So when you say historical examples, all our avatars, all our recreations of whatever we see in Indian psychology, everything, whether it's the Buddhist culture, it is the Mahaviras, we talk about the Nayanmars, we talk about all of them are reincarnations and specific to a period of time. What is that specific to a period of time? We are talking about evolution, where there is a clear understanding in this self-responsibility analysis of self-protective role of symptoms and how those roles will actually make you fall apart and how you have to pick up from there and use self-responsibility. So evolutionary, it has changed. Each and every avatar or each and every rebirth is trying to tell you that that responsibility you have to take. You have to take on the responsibility to change your behavior. Then, of course, like yesterday, I was talking about fostering social interest. Fostering social interest, if you look at all the theories of moral development, of all these cognitive aspects of understanding what an individual should be, it is there in Indian psychology just as a learning. When the content or the Brahmacharya ashrama, what is the content that the Gurukula followed? If you looked at it, it is in many ways it is positive psychology, but also Adlerian in this context, because it's Adlerian, because I'm talking Adlerian, I'm using that, but it's also very much positive psychology, where it says stop teaching children to be the receivers, teach children to become givers. So receivers to givers is not altruistic aspect, is not an old thought. It was ingrained in the Indian context, in the Indian psychology, and even in Adler's aspect, he says reducing repetitive lifestyle, which is negative, reasoning with the client in order to reduce that repetitive lifestyle. So beautifully the aspect of, being a giver, being a mentor, being how to be that is actually classified much before Adler's theories. So at the core of it, I'm just summarizing Adlerian aspect. What is the core of it is written in the Adlerian theories itself. At the heart of Adlerian psychotherapy, they talk about encouragement grounded in the feeling of universal co-humanity. Encouraged and grounded in the feeling of universal co-humanity. Now, when we talk about co-humanity, what is the equivalent in Hindi, in Sanskrit? Vasudeva Kutumbam. Vasudeva Kutumbakam is a chol. It's a constant quotation in anybody, in anything. Satchitananda, meaning everybody together. And it's talking about from inner out as well as outer in, where the person has to think of himself, yes, but also for ultimately it has always been the larger good, which is our secret life plan. Vasudeva Kudumbakam is the secret life plan of every individual. And that is actually, when you look at it from the heart of, it says, it reads like this in one of the books, the heart of Adlerian psychotherapy says that it is encouragement grounded in the feeling of universal co-humanity. So if you're talking about co-humanity, what best but Vasudeva Kudumbakam, right? So when we move to cognition itself, I want you all to, if you have it, if you can Google or whatever, the Adlerian psychotherapeutic goes through 6 phases. Okay, 5 plus 1 is a feedback kind of a post-treatment phase, it's called. So I'll just run through the phases for everybody's rushing memory kind of a thing. The phase 1 talks about the focus on support, meaning where they get out empathy and they try and build the relationship. Okay. Phase 2 talks about encouragement, whereas the clarification and encouragement, that's where the Socratic questioning happens. An alternate way of life of thinking is given, and there is new direction that is being they're made to think, that the client is made to think, and how they're made to think is by bringing out the consequences. Okay. And in phase 3 they talk about the insight and interpretation and recognition, and they interpret actually as to what you should avoid. Okay, the interpretation is what you should avoid. And there they bring out a little bit of Freudian aspects like the dream therapies, things like that. And it's actually the phase 3 is the knowing stage. It's the stage where we actually accept that okay, we are doing wrong. The client actually accepts and says, okay, this is my lifestyle, this is what I'm doing wrong, I need to change. Phase 4 is the emotional breakthrough where there is role playing, there's guided imagery, and there is narration by both the client and actually the therapist is supposed to narrate, I mean, paraphrase what the client has been experiencing and things like that. So there is a role playing, there is guided imagery, which the therapist actually actively participates in. And that is where they make the emotional breakthrough. So this, the way the therapist puts it forward is like telling the individual that there is another path and you have to choose the other path, like break old patterns and change attitude. That's the core of the phase 4. Phase 5 is challenge, cooperation, and empathy is given again there, empathetically. They and support is given, support and launch and new rules. Now if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, the way it was processed, whether it is that particular chapter wherein we are talking to Arjuna, or the chapters in which Dhritarashtra is being attended to with regard to Sanjaya's words, how he depicts the things, or when Krishna in the Bhagavata Purana, where Krishna talks to Kunti and slowly brings her to accept reality, or we can, if we can go on, and even Draupadi, and so all of it you will see, if you actually break it down, you can break it down very clean and neatly into these 5 phases, where, let me just put it in those words. First of all, the focus and the support. Slowly Krishna introduces that faith aspect, and the individual talks to his god as though he believes, and he says, yes, now you tell me what I should do, kind of situation he brings around. And when he brings that, okay, I accept your help, that kind of a situation from the client, he brings it to encouragement and says, now speak up, what did you do, did you do this, did you do that? And there is the, when it's the Bhagwan's questions, the questions that are asked is to rake the answers, is to bring, and then in a very subtle, in a very loving encouragement, like clarifying, did you mean like that? Even Draupadi is talking, did you really do this, did you laugh, did you do that, did you mean that? And when she says, no, I didn't mean to do it, but he's reminding her, you did this and this has brought you bad luck, this has brought you bad ill health or whatever. So then she says no, and then when she clarifies it, he says, yes, there's repentance, there is a repentance, there is, so he interprets what the person has agreed to. Yes, I did it, but I didn't mean it like that. Then the interpretation from the outside in, I told you, inside out and outside in, telling what the world looks at and how the others got offended by it. Every one of these stories that you can take, whether even not even Mahabharata or particularly Ramayana, if you look at the avatar of Hiranyakashipu, or how Hiranyakashipu was during the, means Narasimha avatar, where Hiranyakashipu was, or even whether it was the fights between the Asuras and the Devas, or anything like that, you will see very clearly the avidya coming in. So in our Indian psychology text, we talk about what is vidya and avidya. If you look at how avidya is being removed and vidya is being placed, that is the 5 phases. Very clearly, it's moving. If you look at it step by step, somebody has an avidya, somebody has half knowledge and they act as though they know everything, like I am doing right now. So when they have avidya and they go and talk about it very big, there is an ego. There is a thinking that I know it all. And that ego is generally, it is questioned. And when it questions, actually the client will start realizing, what they will realize, if you look at it in the Indian parallel, is humility. I am nothing but a speck. And that's the ultimately what the gods show us, whoever the god is. I'm not talking about Krishna alone, whether it's Vishnu, whether it is any of your gods. They show it with their Vishwarupa. They show it with the super. They come from a small being to a big being. They come from a begging stage to authority, trying to tell you that who you are, you can change that thought process. And all of the stories ultimately talks about crushing the ego, looking inwards, finding answers from within and without. So whether it is our contemporary Indian psychological aspects like our dohas, try and interpret the dohas that you have, whether it's a Kabir doha, it's all of those dohas ultimately talk about you look inside, identify who you are, and then you have to do seva. You have to do paraloka seva. You have to look at the others, and that is the beauty. So if you look at the 5 stages, I mean, I want all of you to actually write down Adlerian psychology, psychotherapy, 5 phases, and then you take any story. Simply take any story. Talk from any, even nowadays, our present day gurus who are talking about all these things, they talk about little short stories. Take those stories from the Quranic Tulsi Doha, Kabir Doha, yes, Anita. So all those, you take those stories and you will see the transpiration of going through the 5 stages. It may be one over the other, maybe one will supersede the other, or one will be shorter than the other, but all 5 stages are very evident. And this is what I was doing. I was taking, actually, for children, I was taking the Panchatantras and I was taking the Bodhisattva stories, Jataka tales. That is, Bodhisattva stories are basically the Jataka tales. And I was trying to see whether it has the psychological elements and what. And that is where I actually found Adlerian the therapies there. And that was when I started thinking about comparison from Adlerian to Indian psychology. So now to quote, so far I've been using the Adlerian text. So now I'll just quote the aspects of, for others who are thinking. And it's a very short talk today, actually. I'm going to stop very soon, so you all can ask questions, actually. So I've lost the page. Okay, 1 second. I've just marked, yeah. So when we talk about it in Indian things, those who want to go and do research more, those who want to experiment more, I'm just going to read a few lines from here and there. Advaita system, called the Vedanta Paribhasha, mentions 2 kinds of perception: indeterminate and determinate. That is nirvikalpa pratyaksha, that is nirvikalpa pratyaksha, and savikalpa pratyaksha. Both are actually the determinate and the undeterminate. So when the individual comes with undeterminate aspects, I don't know why I am confused, that is undeterminate, but they have the feelings, they have the thought process, everything, but I don't know. That is what avidya, I don't know what it is. I am confused, but I behave like I'm not confused. I behave in a particular format. This aspect of it, this aspect of the indeterminate will become determinate when you ask them. So the vidya can be revived from that. So this aspect of Vedanta Paribhasha, where they have actually put that together, it's beautiful when you read more and more about it. Devoid of specifications of category, the object of perception belongs to its name or its relations to other objects. So invariably, it starts with definition of, and then of the self, of the persona, of the object, or of the emotion. But it goes to gives it a determinate meaning, gives it a larger picture. And that is one aspect. So you look at Nirvikalpa Pratyaksha and Savikalpa Pratyaksha, those who want to read up more. Another beautiful aspect here, there is there's a whole lot of Nirvikalpa and basically Sankalpa. That is meaning, how do we, that is a beautiful word in Adlerian. It's talks about futative, that is imaginary aspects. You have to bring in imaginary quotations into the individual. So this is the aspect of sankalpa, imagination. Sankalpa being brought into as interpretations for your particular, what if. The role play is a what if situation. Can people think of the Adlerian therapies that says that, what if I was, okay, what if, and you can say if I were, and then you can act upon it. That is again part of it. And that is exactly the sankalpa that is being practiced in Indian things. And then there is another beautiful quotation which I have marked for all of you, and now it's missing. So just get to it in a second. Of course, the Shankaracharya's words of talking about cognition, where he very particularly talks about one split in self into many. So this could be, you can think of it from the Gestaltian point of view, but even then, Shankara suggests how basic properties of the one, which although basically indescribable, are approximately described as Sat Chit Ananda, meaning existence, consciousness, and bliss. So Sat Chit Ananda is existence, consciousness, and bliss. This is exactly what Adlerian is talking about when he follows the therapeutic. First, he talks about what is existent, okay? What is happening? What are you going through? I am going through this. Then he removes the the mistakes in it or the incongruence in it. And that is actually bringing it to consciousness and saying, hello, you've been doing this. Hello, you've been doing that, reminding the person, and then giving them an alternate, which is called as bliss. In Indian psychology, we can always talk of good behavior as bliss, as goodness or whatever. So that connect that they are giving is so beautifully put by Shankaracharya over and over again. There are a lot of examples of Vidya spoken about Atman, the Brahman. When you talk about what the role of the Atman is, what the role of the Brahman is, each one of it is specifically talking about the Satchit Ananda within the individual as such. So I don't know whether people are putting something in the chat box, so I will look at it in some time. Another aspect of, self as object and vice versa, object as self and self as object. This is the pramana prameya vyavaharaha. This is the core of knowledge. Pramana prameha means when you talk about knowledge as an with information, with fact, with example. Pramanam is example with proof. When you talk about that, only that becomes vidya. So what is that? When the client comes to us, we clarify it in such a way that we make a proof, a statement of fact, a support system for the individual. Only then can we help the person continue in that negative behavior. We'll have to prove it to them in some way or the other. So through them, of course, nowadays we move to an eclectic field where we are correcting them from their point of view. We're helping them to accept what is the changes required. So basically it is pramana prameya vyavaharaha, which is the jnana or the base of it all. And then of course, when we talk about the Advaita tradition, there are two factors that interfere with the process of cognition. The first one is called avarana, that is veiling, that is the how we cover it with our justification. We can call it defense mechanism if you're going into psychodynamic, but constantly we justify our negativities. So that is the veiling of it. And the second is projection, which is the viksepa. The vikshapa is basically what you project it out and how your behavior. So if we can just remove that veil, with that veiling that is put, the fraudulent aspect of it, and if we remove that, then it becomes a very clear identification of what is he hiding, what is the justification. And in this part is where the consciousness, the avidya, is the veiling, and actually what you're projecting, if you remove the veil, we'll be able to give them clarity and give them vidya. So and then of course they talk about what is the drik and the drishya. That is, what I see is what I am. So drik is who the self is, and the drishya is what the drik sees. So that is the object of what you are looking at. So you will see it only that way. We have to, as a counselor, give it a different perspective and give it a. So when you talk about perception, perspective, vidya, avidya, that is the same that Adler has been talking about in his 5 phases, and how to bring about clarity into our client's life, into their vidya that they are experiencing right now. How to clarify it is what is crucial. I think Salim sir is saying something to someone or to me, I don't know. Anyways, so with that I have concluded, because I'm still novice, I'm still reading, I'm still understanding, and I'm taking chapter by chapter. Recently, I'd finished the personality aspect. So much to tell about personality, correlates that we can think about. But what intrigued me, basically intrigues me, is how do we nurture our children, our future generations, through our own Indian psychological aspects is what I'm looking at. And in that context, I looked at cognition, I looked at the self, and I am looking into this in a little bit more detail. And if all of you have anything to say, please do put it on. I'd love to read. I'd love to understand that from your perspective also. And that will be nice for all of us. Thank you so much for the opportunity, to everybody, especially to Yellow Pond and Sir Suresh sir, to Sir, everybody who, in fact, I was not even planning to talk because I was still reading. And they said, ma'am, there are 2 slots. Will you take it? And I said, yeah, give me both. I'd like to talk about this, though I don't know anything about it. But it's nice to voice. And when I voice, I think I get more clarity. So it actually served a very selfish purpose of bringing more clarity into my thinking about the whole thing. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Salim, sir. Any questions? Anybody needs to ask anything, please do feel free to ask.
Thank you, ma'am. Nice, wonderful session. You rightly mentioned about the individual private life plan and all those things, and we understand the concept. So now I'd like to invite Sunanda ma'am to take over the question answer session. Sunanda ma'am, you can go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Participants, you can ask questions directly, ma'am, or you can type in a chat box.
Yeah, I see one question. One Vishal Mugun has written, "We do sankalpa before all pujas start." Yes, the idealization, the thinking that this is Ganga, this is God, this is this thing. When we do that, what are we actually? We're actually creating the aura. So if those who have studied art therapy, when we start up internationally, when they gave us art therapy, I was just thinking, why we go international. But yeah, when I studied art therapy from the international masters, there is a sankalpa there. There is a complete sankalpa. Only then it is effective. So you have to believe that the gods are there. There is power. Whether it is Reiki, I'm a Reiki grandmaster, and whenever we start Reiki, whenever we start anything, we immediately create that aura. We create that sankalpa. And I mean, I don't know how to do sankalpa in the in the Hindu tradition, but as a Reiki grandmaster, we do sankalpa. We do all the time. We bring in the powers from the humility that we have within us. We call for power. We ask the gods to come down. So yes, sankalpa is always done before any puja, and that is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. That we don't have to go Western. Let's go Indian. Okay, so any other questions? Y'all can unmute and ask. I see a few of my dear friends and students also. Please do ask questions, girls and boys, if there are.
Ma'am, I have no questions, but I am asking how to we do. Actually, now you are saying about the Adlering therapy and our Indian psychology also. Actually, I'm a starter. Uh, how how must I proceed? First, I want to study about the Western psychology or Indian psychology first. I thought Indian psychology is easy for me because already I crossed so many things and all. How we compare it, ma'am?
See, there are about 4 or 5 recently. I'll tell you how the Indian psychology was born. If you all have heard about it, there was a conference in Pondicherry. I think it was 2007 or 2009 or something, and that's when they decided that they'll go all out to actually nurture it. Okay, so there are about 5 or 6 good books, and there is one book called the Handbook of Indian Psychology or something, which is a 3 volume book. I mean, most of the colleges should have it. I haven't read that one. I am going to read it. So those books are pretty expensive. It's 4,000, 5,000, the whole set kind of a thing. So if you can get hold of those books, what it talks about, but there is a little bit of heaviness in those books, meaning they all talk from the Sanskrit verse point of view. They talk about it from the Sanskrit verse. So they tell the Sanskrit words, they'll use the Sanskrit words. So do we need those Sanskrit words is my question. But yeah, if you're reading those books, first of all, like I said, Sankalpa and all those are Sanskrit words. So if you can understand and correlate, it's great. So what you can do is you can take those aspects. First of all, read Indian psychology, as many books as you can, attend Indian psychological thought processes. Then what you need to do is, what I did is slightly different, but I'll just tell you that also. Then you compare. So there's a beautiful book that says um, the psychology of the Bhagavad Gita. Then it says then there is a book that Eastern thoughts and Western minds or something like that. So again, and then there is, if you take Carl Jung's versions, he has very elaborately explained how the Indian psychology is and what it is and how they actually function. So that is my first few readings. So Carl Jung is the one who actually triggered and said the Jungian psychology. So the Jungian psychology is one that said that this is what you have to do. Yes, JK's books are good reads, absolutely good reads. So if you read Indian psychology, you will realize that there is Ramanujan's stories, there is Ramana Maharshi stories, Vivekananda's teachings and things like that. But all of them are written, let me clarify, like the beginnings of psychology in the Western world as philosophy. Okay, they're all written as philosophy, they're not written as psychology. So you will have to read it and know how it can be translated to a psychological parallel. So whether you read Ramana Maharshi's books or read Vivekananda or JK's books, J. Krishnamurthy's books are amazing reads for child development. Their schools are such huge, I mean, they're revolutionary with regard to how they let the child have free will rather than deterministic. So determinism and free will is the constant debate that in psychology we have when we are treating a person, when we are talking research, all of it, we have this kind of a debate. So JK actually talks about exactly how you can nurture the mind of a child to think, and what we call nowadays growth mindset, to open the minds. I think JK's books are just the place where you can talk about growth mindset. So I mean, there are so many books, but let me again repeat, they're all written from the point of view of philosophy. But that is how India is. We talk of a way of life. We don't talk about psychology as yet. So we will have to convert them to the known psychological jargon. So what I request you it is read those textbooks of psychology, understand what they are. See how, like, say, for example, you talk about Sufism, you talk about Buddhism. Take out specifically, like you studied in psychology. What did you study in psychology? You talked about schools of thought. So this is a school of thought, forget that. Try and identify what is the primary principles of Indian psychology. So write down principles of Indian psychology, right? And you'll see that anything that you read later will match up with the principles of Indian psychology. Okay, then you go on and you'll see even current day stories or examples of our new age. I mean, whatever, whether it's Satya Sai Baba, whether it's Shirdi Baba stories, if you read all of them, you will realize that you can see the pattern of how they actually convert, and I won't say convert, they help individuals to come from their aspect of ignorance towards something called bliss. So that is the primary tenet of Indian psychology, where we move from ignorance to knowledge. Ignorance to knowledge. That's a, when we say I've forgotten, what is this? When we say from light to what is it? Uh, what is that shlokam that we say? My God, sudden blank out. Um, Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. So when you're talking about, it's from ignorance to knowledge, ultimately. It's from darkness to light. So anything that you say, it is all about that. Another beautiful read for all those women libbers in the group. You don't have to read any book on women strength and empowerment. Read the Devi Mahatmya. It is or the Lalita Sahasranama. It talks about the women as the ultimate power. If you believe in that, I don't believe in that, but you can see, right? I don't believe in that, right? So when you think that you can fight that, the Saundarya Lahari talks of a different kind of a genre. Each one of them are complete knowledge bases of how the woman, what is the role of a true woman? What is her should she actually fight for her rights, or is she equally powerful, or can she? So I mean that is another lecture by itself. So woman empowerment is in fact, in all the stories that is there, you will see few characters that are super powerful, and you will see women that are weak also, who are, if you want to call them doormats, they are. But the point is that that doormat also has a role to play, like all the aspects. That is again a principle in Indian psychology. If you look at the principles, one is from ignorance to knowledge. The second, so there are so many principles, but second principle is very, very clearly that you are unique. Okay, so whether you're a girl, whether you're a boy, whether you're a child, each one. And just because, again, nowadays people are fighting. No, nowadays all our youngsters, when I talk to for school counseling, they're saying, just because we are young, people are disrespecting us. We know more than our elders. They should not. Just because they're old, we don't have to respect them. This has been told to us by who? By Dhruva, in the Dhruva Nakshatra. Whether we talk about Prahlada, whether we talk all of them, all those, and there is that Ekalavya story. There is all of those stories told the adult, hello, I am smarter than you. In every way, what all the children told us was that only, that yeah, we know something, and you have to, ultimately the adult will say, yes, I respect that thought in you, that devotion in you, that faith in you, that discipline in you. Even when Arjuna when he uses Karna uses his arrow, whatever, there are big seers, big people who come down and say, we respect, even though you're a child, we respect that in you. So anything in contemporary psychology which is moving towards the contemporary, you can find examples which you can bring out and actually discuss with and use. So if you're thinking of reading it, read any book, read anything, but only thing is you'll have to rewrite it with psychological jargon, which is only then will you get a public recognition, whether you want to present it as a research, or you want to use it as a story, or you want to, I mean, whatever way you want to use it, you'll have to give it a psychological jargon. Like yesterday, ma'am was talking, Subhashri ma'am was saying that we have to give it that research modality, that scientific tone has to be set, that scientific process has to be set. Only then will you be able to call it psychology. So that is what it is.
Ma'am, here, Dr. Lakshmi here.
Yes, ma'am.
Just adding on to your point, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just adding on to your point, like since Vishal had asked about like how to start off in Western psychology and Indian psychology, both are looking at the concepts and the structures of the mind. So, Indian psychology, it's not only giving the structures of the mind, they are also talking about how to manage and control the mind. So, Chitta
Absolutely.
Vritis. So,
Chitta
I do
vritti,
agree
all
with
is-
you. That's really very good that avidya, moving from avidya to vidya, that was really, that's the ultimate aim of Indian psychology is about. But to start with, we can start and correlate with the
absolutely.
structures of the mind and what Western psychology is giving about buddhi and stuff. But here we have a beautiful, what do you call, tree about how mind is made up of, what are the structures
Buddhi
of
and
the mind,
manasa,
the
yeah.
gunas,
Buddhi and the manasa,
gunas,
that,
yeah.
yeah. The
Chitta,
manasa and
buddhi,
the buddhi.
antakarna, and
Chitta,
all
buddhi,
these things
manasa.
are given.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So it's a clear-cut explanation about what the structures of the mind and how it is made up of. That is the guna, the energy, that is also given. And when the energy is imbalanced and when one energy is dominant and other energy is recessive, then what would be the personality characteristic of that individual? All the personality types is also being given in Yoga Shastras. So to start with, you can start with the understanding the concepts of the mind, concept of the mind and
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
components of the mind.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you so much
So
for the wonderful session.
So
ma'am.
that is what you have to do. Like ma'am was telling, no, she's using, see those words that she's using, concepts of the mind, structure, all these words. If you use the concepts related to psychology, I just took Adler for the fun of it, because at that time when sir asked me, will you talk? I was reading Adler, so I stuck to Adler. But it'll be amazing to compare with psychopathology, with each of the disorders. You can talk about symptoms, you can talk about psychodynamic, you can talk about Carl Jung, you can talk about existentialism very, very easily in Indian psychology. You can talk about what the humanistic and all is just easy. It's baby's play if you want to actually identify it in this thing. So since I was reading Adler, I brought it in, but I'm not even saying it's the most suited one. Gestalt, for example, amazing comparisons can be made. I have that I did about 4-5 months back. So terms won't come easily. Just a reading I had done. But Gestalt in Indian psychology, like I told you just now, the parts make the whole, and the whole is so different from the. It's so beautiful. It is so beautifully explained in Indian psychology. So all of you should explore, and I wish all of you the states of consciousness. Yes, Lakshmi ma'am, it is absolutely this the and you know the prana, the chakras. There is one beautiful book which if those who want to read other aspects, which is very unique to Indian psychology, the mudra psychology, the aspects of the mudra, it is medically proven. Acupuncture and all can take a walk, literally can take a walk if you look at the mudra aspects. You know what is the heart chakra, how do you press the heart chakra, and then the chakra philosophy. The chakra philosophy is just amazing. Absolutely. Yes, the Mandukya Upanishad talks about all that. And I feel Dr. Lakshmi is the authority on this. Maybe we should get Dr. Lakshmi to speak to us more about, with the technical terminology there. I am not, I'm just reading now. I can't even remember half the terms. I just make the comparison, feel very knowledgeable, and then I leave it. But definitely, Dr. Lakshmi is definitely seemingly more, the words are coming out correctly. So yes, ma'am, we need to sit together. We need to actually, for our next generations, we should give them Indian psychology. We are passing through, but we have to give Indian psychology in a nice package, in a nice marketed well, nice package, and then we can give it out without the international patenting. That is what we should do. Thank you so much.
Murugan, this can able to hear me?
Yes,
Sir,
yes,
go ahead.
yes, we can.
Thank you very much. I'm an IT professional for 30 years,
Wow,
interested
sir.
in this. There is a mind thing. Where is the mind in our body actually? In fact, I was going through that where the Tirumular, okay, in 4
Correct.
sentences has said where the mind is, which even the scientific community could not able to find where in our body. When we
Yes,
are in
yes,
the
yes.
wake up stage that you and I are talking and listening, mind is in the brain actually. The next state we go is the dream sleep actually. He says in the dream sleep, your mind is in the throat. That is what we used to blabber actually.
Chakras, yeah, all our chakras, yeah.
Okay. And then he says, after when you are dream sleep, you go to deep sleep, your mind comes to the heart actually. That is why if you see most of the heart attack happens in the early morning, if your mind is so disturbed and everything, at the deep sleep, your mind is in the heart actually. Okay, please remember during the sleep, the dream never comes in color. Because color is identified by the mind actually. The moment you see the blood or color in the dream, you wake up actually. There is no, except in the movie, you can't have a dream in color actually. That's what Tirumular says, because the mind has come down from brain when you are in the wake up to the throat to the heart. Okay, please remember, God has not created the mind. Mind has come like a dust due to the human evolution actually. God created only brain, soul and body. Mind is the, as Osho says, mind is the man-made disaster. And we started working on the disaster actually. Thank you. It's a very good listening to you,
True, sir.
Padma.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. I
Ma'am,
hope the younger generation can benefit with all this. Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
ma'am, you said on the Reiki healing. So Reiki healing, you can compare with any therapeutic techniques, ma'am. Anything we can compare for understanding purpose.
It starts off, see, Reiki healing starts off with JPMR. If you want to look at it from a comparison, it starts with a meditative state, going into a meditative state. And then it is universal healing. It's attraction. Your latest theories of attraction. It attracts the right kind of responses. And ultimately, yeah, it's all those. It's basically positive psychology aspect, but Buddhism. It's based in Buddhism very much, very much. And there is
Okay.
distance
By
healing. There is
boxing,
distance
by
healing.
comparison and boxing, sometimes we lose the originality.
We lose a lot of absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely,
don't
absolutely.
compare or don't box it. If you see the Western psychology, they try to box it everybody actually.
Sir, but
Okay,
for
whereas our
recognition, we
Indian
have to box,
psychology,
sir.
yeah,
Yes,
like
yes, but we
Madam
have to
said,
box it.
millions of God. Okay.
Sir, in that boxing, we have lost our own roots. That is
True.
the
Exactly.
saddest truth.
That is
In
true,
that
but now we have to
boxing,
bring
since
that
Western
back.
psychology had boxed everything, we
Correct.
had lost our own roots, and it is high
Correct.
time that we also start boxing our own roots.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to
Okay, that
box
is
it
what,
and bring it back to popularity. Then we can, give the real essence of it. So,
correct. That is what we used to say. You tell the fact, I learn. Okay. You tell
do
the
it
truth, I
actively.
believe. But you tell the story, it lives in my heart. That is
Lives
what
in
the
my
millions
heart.
of the
That's
God,
what they did. That's what they did. Yes,
Padma
yes.
said, is all
Storytelling.
there is a
Storytelling.
story behind millions of God actually. Decode that story, you get wonders actually. Don't box it or compare it.
We
And
would
you
love to,
find
sir,
your
but
mind.
It's about, let us use the word associating rather than
Correct.
comparing.
Exactly.
So association is a technique of learning, no? Because see, Salim knows association. So I can associate the Reiki techniques to Salim. It will be easy for him to understand, no?
absolutely.
For understanding purpose, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. So for understanding purpose, see, for example, when I'm talking about authenticity or genuineness, to compare it with Indian psychology, I can talk about yamas and niyamas.
Yes.
So tapa, swacha, effect,
Swacha.
santosha, satisfaction, self-compassion, kindness. So I can correlate with, I cannot talk swacha or tapa, all those things in psychology class. When
Yes,
if I'm
yes.
talking to a crowd of psychology, if I can associate it with the cognitive restructuring techniques, it will be easy for them to associate.
Absolutely, ma'am.
So
And it's in a
basically
language,
not
and
boxing.
Sanskrit is a language none of us are using anymore. So when you have to translate it, you have to put it into a more simple and actually there is no direct synonym for the Sanskrit word because it's so big, such a big word, such a heavy word. To bring it and translate it and use one word in English is not at all easy. But it has to be, because otherwise, how do I teach? Children are, when they take that, when the new syllabus came, and they said, ma'am, they're confusing us. Vidya, 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 what is happening, ma'am? And then they're talking about something. All the words are not even coming in the mouth. How are they going to remember? So I think
Yes, Padma.
we have to box it. We have
You
to box it
rightly
a little
said,
bit. Yeah.
so when I address the college student and everything, we talk about IQ, where I stands for intelligence. Same student, final year student, I talk about IPR, intellectual. What is the difference between intelligence and intellect? Arivu vera, buddhisali vera actually.
But you can't say
Intelligence
that.
is not same as intellectual. You
True.
can't register as a property right your intelligence, but intellectual. Please remember, intellectual is your right thinking. Original thinking is there in intellectual, not in intelligence, actually.
Correct.
Even not in intellectual. If you worship ignorance, it leads you to darkness. But if you worship intelligence, it leads you to greater darkness. I didn't say this. Ishavasya Upanishad Rishi says this.
Yes,
So
yes.
you should not, that I stands for not intelligence, or I stands for the ahamkara.
Okay, now we're going into a debate. That's
Yeah.
nice.
I think let me leave from here. But it was
No
nice.
problem.
It was nice. It was a nice
It was
thing.
absolutely.
Murugan said, please don't take anything in an offensive way. It was just
No,
like,
no, not
not
at all. Not at all. We have to debate.
We
it,
need to
actually.
debate.
all
We
learn.
need to debate. We need to
We
learn
have to
from the
debate it. We
debates.
have a
Yes.
new learning, like Batma said, that the more you start sharing, okay, that's what I used to tell my son also. The more you share, your brain doesn't require energy to remember, actually.
Correct.
yeah,
correct.
actually, I liked one Padma ma'am's words. Like, when I am taking the lecture, it is a selfish motive that I am analyzing how much I have understood, how much I have moved from the ignorance towards the Vidya. So that is what I also do it in my yoga classes and the Indian psychology classes. Like, yeah, so now I have understood a little bit, and I think I'm moving towards the Vidya. I think so. So we have as much as you share, as much you get. That is the
True. True.
prospect or principles of Indian psychology itself. Nice.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we've done with.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, Salim. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you,
Thank
Salim.
you, Batma. Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi ma'am. Thank you, Murugan sir. It was a wonderful debate. I think we need one more session for discussion.
Now, very soon we'll have Dr. Lakshmi ma'am session. She's expert in externalism. She took one e-workshop, so probably we will have soon here.
As she said, it's very easy to correlate existentialism with Indian psychology. Easiest one, which that is what I did. So nice. It was a nice. Yeah, Sunanda, we need one more session, and I don't mind having one more debate.
True, ma'am. It's like a
Make
ocean.
Ma'am, Lakshmi, it'll be nice for the children. What we will do is we'll take opposite. I will take Western, you take Indian, and we will actually debate. We will, you tell me what all terms you're going to use. Like, say, for example, intellectual or mind structure. I will take the Western say, and let's say I am, what I know is more important, and we'll tell the year, we'll tell all that, and you can, actually give us the parallel in Indian, and I think everybody will learn by that kind of exchange.
True.
So
Very
we can
nice.
plan it out that way. We can plan it out that, ma'am, we'll first talk about personality, or we'll talk about self or something. We'll give it a structure. And
Sure.
in that structure, I will say a few things that is completely, whichever school of thought I pick up, and you will
Sure.
be able to oppose it immediately. It'll be a wonderful learning for the students. It'll be like really, they'll be able to connect the two
True.
aspects, that's
True,
something like
true.
that we can do. We'll
True,
see, ma'am.
true,
We
true.
can probably do that. Yeah.
Exchanging our knowledge, ma'am.
No exchange. It is because we want to give it to the younger generation. For us, what now we're all just going to go on. Yeah.
Passing on
Yeah.
our knowledge.
Yeah, it's a knowledge transfer. Yes.
Yeah. Individual feelings of belonging and contribution to the society, then personal experience is the more important, man. Concept of self-adrenaline and Indian psychology, you explained beautifully. You tickled our knowledge in a different view of Indian psychology and adrenaline concept, man. Vasundeva Kudumbakam and Sachit Anand, you catered. It was a wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you, Padma ma'am. Kindly accept our gratitude on behalf of American College Madurai, MS Chellamuthu Institute Madurai, Madras School of Social Work Chennai, Red Pond Educational Research Center, Yellow Pond Counseling Center, TNCCA, then TNCPA Steps Foundation. We thank you, ma'am. Participants, we have yet another wonderful session tomorrow evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you. When you can let me know next session whenever. Okay, sir.
Thank you.